Good morning. It's Jamie from Not So Wimpy Teacher, and I'm here to kick off the last week of our Not So Wimpy Teacher Experience. I have had a blast, and the last week is not going to disappoint because this week is all about math. So, very excited about that one. All right. Get in the comments and tell me, how much time do you have for your math block this coming year? How much time do you have for the entire math block for all the things? Tell me how much time you have. Hey, Cheryl from Phoenix, Arizona. Oh, it is just like nasty out today, huh? It's like hot and humid. In Arizona, it's supposed to be dry and hot, but it's hot and humid here today. So it's just nasty. Good morning. Good morning. Tell me, how much time do you have for math? All the things combined. About how much time do you have? Cheryl has 90 minutes. That is a dream, Cheryl. I had 90 minutes sometimes, and it was just awesome. I saw 70 minutes. I see a couple 90s. Sarah has an hour and a half. Chris has 75. Gosh, this is awesome. Love it. About an hour last year, Brandy said. Yeah, an hour seems pretty standard, although I love that some of you have up to 90 minutes. It's incredible. An hour, yes. Jackie says it's 90 minutes. I'm not quite sure. Wanda says 70 minutes. Jill is 80. This is incredible. This is good news. This means you have time for a really phenomenal math workshop. I truly believe that if you have 60 minutes, you can do a great workshop. And if you have 90 minutes, it's just a dream. That just means that you are going to be able to help your scholars even more. So anywhere between the 60 and 90 minute mark. And I think you are going to be able to do such amazing things this year in math. Who's excited for that? All right. So if you've just happened upon this and you're like, what in the world is the Not So Wimpy Teacher Experience? Let me just tell you a little bit about it if this is your first time. I know some of you have been here with us all month, which is so exciting. But some of you, this is your first time. You just happened upon this. And the Not So Wimpy Teacher Experience is a special virtual event that we put together for teachers in grades 2, 3, 4, and 5. And we have been going live every single weekday of July with a special training, giveaways, freebies, special promotions, games. We have had a blast. And we've just been sharing so many incredible tips and strategies and routines to help make this your best school year ever. And this week we're talking all about math. But if you missed any of the other trainings and you're looking at this calendar going, whoa, I wish I had been there for one of these trainings, just make sure you sign up at notsowimpyteacher.com/experience and we'll send you replays. But this week, we're starting today with one of my favorite math trainings, and it's about how to do a math workshop with centers in just 60 minutes per day. And if you have more than that, then phenomenal. We're going to talk more about how to make your centers more manageable tomorrow. We'll be talking about organization, like boxes and bins and envelopes and pouches. Oh, that makes my teacher heart happy. We'll be doing that on Wednesday. And we're going to talk about the first couple of weeks of math on Thursday. And we're going to end the whole Not So Wimpy Teacher Experience on Friday, talking about teaching math facts. So if you've missed any of these trainings, you're like, this sounds really good, you can catch them all on our YouTube channel or on our Facebook. You can still watch the replays. Go ahead and get yourself signed up. We'll send you links. We'll send you this calendar and we'll send you the game board. It's not too late to take part. All right. I'm so glad you're loving the trainings, Jennifer. This is one of my favorites. 3 secrets to easily, that's a key word, run a successful math workshop, including centers, in just 60 minutes per day. So I love math workshop and the use of centers, but it can get really tricky with our crazy schedules. So I'm going to share with you 3 secrets that are going to make it a lot easier this year. Are you ready for that? Okay, so there's tons of things that I could share with you about math workshop. It's one of my favorite things to teach about. So I could probably be here all day teaching you about it, but we've got an hour. I promise I'm going to be talking fast during that hour. So get ready, get your pencil, your pen, get ready to screenshot some slides if you want, because I'm going to talk fast so that I can give you 3 of what I think are the most important strategies for transforming your math block. And then if you love those, I will tell you more about how you can continue to work with me. So we've got 3 strategies today, and I got to keep moving. But I wanted to start off by giving you something for free. This is a freebie for everybody, something fun that we're doing in the Not So Wimpy Teacher experience. I have created these math fact games for you. There's 8 game boards, 2 for each operation. So they're perfect for grades 2, 3, 4, and 5. And you can grab them at notsowimpyteacher.com/games. Go ahead and take a screenshot of this slide so that you can check out this website after the training. We don't want to lose you, and I'm going to be moving fast, but I do want you to grab these cute game boards. You don't need to add anything but a writing utensil in order to use these games. I've included color and black and white versions to make it really easy for you to add these to your math centers this year. Who's excited about that? Patricia is. What? Wow. Yes. We like to wow you at Not So Wimpy Teacher, and what better way to do that than to start the training with a freebie? So go ahead and write the address down or just screenshot this slide on your device so that you remember to come back to this after the training, and you'll be able to download 8 free game boards in color and black and white. You are so welcome. It's notsowimpyteacher.com/games. Got it? All right, here we go. So I'm always open, honest, and authentic with you. But as a student, I hated math. And I hated math because I thought I wasn't good at it. I now realize as an adult that I was plenty good at it, but I thought I wasn't good at math because I kept asking why, and this would frustrate my teachers. Math was definitely taught differently when I was a kid, and asking why was kind of frowned upon, and so my teachers were always frustrated with me. But I had trouble just memorizing an algorithm. If I didn't understand why we were multiplying, then it wouldn't stick in my head. I wouldn't be able to do it later. And so I was constantly asking why. One of my teachers was actually the golf coach at the high school. And when I would ask why, he actually took his golf club and he pretended he was going to hit me in the head with it, which is crazy. But that's how much I was frustrating my teachers. And so I decided I must not be good at math. And since I decided I wasn't so good at math, I was convinced that I would be a bad math teacher. Now, I didn't want that, right? I thought, I want to be a better math teacher than I had when I was a student. I want to do better for my students. And I was really motivated to do that, but I felt like I was climbing over a pretty big hill because I'm not good at math. How many times have you heard people say that? And I hate when people say that I'm not good at math because it reminds me of the terrible negative self-talk that I had in my own head. So at first, because I didn't know any better, I did exactly what the teacher manual for our curriculum said. We had a curriculum and it came with a teacher manual that had a script. And I stood in front of my students who all sat in their desks and I read the script. They listened, they completed their worksheets, and that's what we did for the entire hour. I just didn't know any better. And I thought, well, this is kind of what my teachers did when I was in school. So here I am doing this. And I mean, it kind of occurred to me that if I want to be different than my teachers were, I'm going to have to do something different. And honestly, my math block was boring. It was boring for me, and it was so boring for my students. I was not making math fun. I was not getting them moving, getting them actively participating in math. I wasn't doing any of that. It was very boring. I knew I had to do something different. So I decided to experiment with math centers. I first heard about them on Pinterest. I am a Pinterest addict, so I would spend hours on the weekend looking through Pinterest for new ideas that I probably wouldn't use or didn't have time to use, but math centers is one of the things I saw. And I didn't know a lot about math centers. I didn't have any teachers to learn from. At the time, my coworkers weren't using math centers. They were really just using the script from the curriculum that they'd been given. And so I didn't have a lot of people to learn from. And let me just tell you what, I made some big mistakes. Yeah. Chandra says, well, at least you didn't threaten them with a golf club. That's true. Did not threaten my students with a golf club, but I did make mistakes. For one, at first I had 10 different center rotations happening every day. So 10 different activities, and I divided my class up into 10 different groups. It was mass chaos. And I didn't have any small groups because really I was just running around the room trying to help my students figure out how to do their center or where to get their materials or just answering their questions. And so this was like a marathon. I was so exhausted at the end. So that's a pretty important lesson. Do not have 10 different center rotations happening at the same time. Don't have anywhere near that many because it's crazy. So there's one thing I learned right away, but I will tell you that I continued to work out the kinks. I continued to pay attention to what was working and what was not until I had a really good math center routine working. And I love now to share what I did with other teachers. So maybe you won't make all the same mistakes that I did in your own journey. All right. So super excited to be with you, sharing these lessons with teachers from all around the country. I know that I have teachers here from probably just about every state, and I'm guessing even from a few other countries. So much fun for me to get to share this. Before I share my 3 secrets, I did want to really quick just talk about the workshop model in case you've never used it. I know we have some teachers here who use the workshop model regularly in reading, writing, and maybe math, but if you have not, I do want to make sure you understand the components of a workshop model. A workshop model starts with a whole group lesson. This is usually where you are teaching new skills, strategies, vocabulary, that kind of thing. After that, you move into a small group practice. This is where you have your centers and your teacher small groups going at the same time. So these 2 components are happening at the same time, which can get really chaotic, right? Students are working in centers while you're working with a small group, and then we rotate so that you can work with another small group and they move on to a different center rotation. This is a basic workshop model. Looks easy on this slide, but we all know that there's many struggles along the way. And so I hope that these 3 tips will really help you to transform that math workshop, remove that chaos so that your students have more time to practice the math skills to grow. So here we go. You can fit this all into 60 minutes. Secret number 1 is that you're going to have to turn your whole group lesson into a mini lesson. And I will tell you, this is the biggest thing you're going to need to do to have a successful workshop, because if you continue to do very long maxi lessons for your whole group, you're not going to have very much time for your workshop. All right. When I started off, I told you I was just reading that script, and basically we spent the whole hour, whole group. That is way too much whole group time. What tends to happen is that we are talking until we think every student understood what we taught that day. I hope I'm not the only one who did this, but I would get up there and I would start teaching, and I would teach and teach and teach. And I would still see that there was a few students who weren't getting it. So I would be, okay, I'll give another example. I'll say it again. I'll do it again. And then of course they'll start to get it. Well, guess what? It's not exactly how it works, right? Because all of our students don't learn at the same pace or the same way. And so I'm up there just like giving example after example after example after example, thinking that eventually my whole class will understand. Well, the students who understood 15 minutes ago are bored. My on-level students are getting there, and my lower students, they're still confused. So it's not a good use of my time. Now, this might surprise some of you. For a really successful whole group lesson that's part of a math workshop, we don't want to spend any more than 20 minutes. If you have 60 minutes in your day for math and you have 20 minutes for whole group, think about how much time you have for your math block. About a third of it should be whole group time and no more. Now, some of you are thinking about that and going, oh my God, there's no way I could get it all done in that 20 minutes. And others of you are probably like, okay, that's That's pretty doable. So let me know. What do you think? Does this sound a little shocking, or is this pretty close to where you're at? And it's okay to be 100% honest. Remember, I told you I did 60 minutes whole group. So you don't have anything to be embarrassed about here. Paige said, yes, her mini lesson would turn into 30 to 45-minute lesson. Easy, right? It's so easy to just keep on trying to share one more example. And then before long, you've spent 45 minutes and you don't really have time for small groups and centers, right? Yeah. Nikos, Mike says it sounds shocking. Heather says she's on target. Honda says sound good. All right. So we have a little bit of everything. Some people say it is doable and some say I am shocked. How are we going to fit this all in? I'm already getting questions. Well, where are they going to do this? How are they going to do that? Yeah. I get it, because when I was spending 60 minutes whole group, if someone told me you only have 20 minutes, I would have been like, well, then I'm not going to be able to teach math because it takes 60 minutes. But I'm going to give you some strategies here. Let's just talk about why we want to get it down to 20 minutes first, because once you have a really good why, you are much more motivated to make it happen. First of all, these short lessons are going to help with your classroom management. All humans struggle to sit for long periods of time and stay focused, including us, right? Think about how you act at a staff meeting that goes an hour or more. It's so hard to stay focused, to not stare at your phone or play with your pen or something, right? But children who are 8, 9 years old struggle even more. And so the longer your lesson, the more they're going to start playing with things in their desk, poking their neighbor, tying their shoes together, all the things, right? And then you're going to have to stop to manage this, which takes up considerably more time. We're taking away time from their math instruction, okay? Short lessons mean more time for small groups. This is so key, because small group is where the magic happens. In fact, this is so important. If you're somewhere where you can say this out loud, say it. Small group is where the magic happens. See, for lots of you who said, that's shocking, there's no way I can do it in 20 minutes, that's because your head thinks the magic's happening in whole group. Once you switch your mindset to the magic is actually happening in small group, that's where my students are going to grow and thrive. Then you can't wait to get to small group. Then you need to get the whole group over as quickly as possible so that you can get to the small group. And why? Because more time for small groups means more differentiation. And we know that when our instruction is differentiated, our students grow and learn at a much greater pace. When they're all together, whole group, we're teaching students who are at all different levels the same way. But once we get them into small group, we can start differentiating for their needs. We can start including more of the manipulatives and pictures that some students need while moving a little bit faster, because that's what other students need. So the longer we spend in whole group, the less time we have to do this. And this is the magic. This is the part of Math Workshop that's going to make your test scores rise. This is the part of Math Workshop that's going to get your students to like math, maybe even love it. So as soon as we start seeing small groups as like the most important part of our Math Workshop, then we know we've got to get that whole group shorter, because we got to get to small groups. Sound good? Yeah. Small groups are fantastic for teachers and learners. They are. This is where you're going to get to know your students and their needs personally. This is where you're going to be able to help them. Okay, this is the key. This is a really important shift. Your mini lesson, that whole group lesson, is not the time when students should be expected to master the standards. This was an eye-opening aha moment for me, because remember, I was standing up there giving example after example after example, thinking they've got to master this skill today, right now, in this whole group, because that is what our focus is. That's our objectives. And so since that was what I thought the objective was, I kept teaching, thinking they're going to get it, they're going to get it. But I was wrong. The whole group time is the time to introduce the standards, the skills, the strategies, the vocabulary. It shouldn't be when they're expected to master it. Instead of thinking I'm going to introduce, practice, and master a standard in my math block today, what if we thought in whole group, I'm going to introduce this skill, and then we will practice it to mastery in small group. It's a whole different way to look at your whole group. Your whole group should be the introduction. We have a whole group so we don't have to introduce it to our small groups all individually because that would take too much time. But it's not the time where they practice it until they master it. Yeah, you're going to have some students who all they need is to have it introduced and they're like, aha, I get it. That's the minority. The majority of your students are not going to master this standard during this lesson. And that's okay. That shouldn't be the objective. The objective is to master it during your whole group. All right. Now, one of the easiest ways to shorten your whole group lesson is to use only part of your curriculum during your whole group and save the rest for your small group time. It doesn't matter what curriculum you're using. This is possible. Yes, I understand in some schools you are absolutely possibly required to use a certain curriculum and you have to use it. They tell you what lesson to do every day, and that's fine. Do part of it. Instead of trying to get through the whole teacher script, consider doing a third or a half of it. And then the rest of the examples and problems can be completed during small group time because that's where it's going to be magic. That's where it can be differentiated. That's where your students are going to start to master it. So you're still using your curriculum, but instead of thinking, I got to do every single thing in this lesson and then go to small group and do something else, that's actually more prep and work for you, right? Because now you're prepping that whole group lesson and then you're trying to come up with, start from scratch, coming up with stuff for your whole group. Your curriculum company already wrote a bunch. I once had the opportunity to pilot a curriculum, and it was a great curriculum, but it was massive. There was so much stuff. And we didn't have training that year on how to use it. And so we were just doing our best. And we did our best. And we liked the curriculum. So we recommended that the school get it for the other grade levels, which they did. And when they did, they brought in a trainer. And the third grade who had piloted it said, like, we like it, but there's just so much stuff. It's so hard to get through. And the trainer looked at us almost like with a dumbfounded face, like, well, you weren't supposed to do it all. We gave you more than you would need so you could pick and choose what you needed. And I was like, duh, where was the big warning? That should have been on the cover. We gave you way more than you'll need. Pick what your students need. But I think it's really common for us to get this teacher book and think, I got to get through it. If it's 10 pages, that's how long our whole group lesson is going to be. I don't have time for small group because I've got this curriculum or that curriculum. I've heard of it all the different curriculums. But what if we thought of the curriculum as a tool and we will use part of that tool to introduce the skill? Sure, it's already done for us. And then when we get to small group, we can continue to use tools from the curriculum to help in our small group time. Now, this was also a huge aha moment for me. Every student does not have to complete the entire practice sheet. This used to take a ton of my whole group time, that practice sheet. And the reason why it took so long, because I just introduced the skill, and now I was asking them to independently complete problems. And sure, some of my students could do it, and they could do it easily. Others weren't ready because, lo and behold, they hadn't mastered the standard yet. Obviously. So it would take a really long time. And I was, I'd have my kids who'd get through it really fast, and then I'd need a fast finisher thing for them. I have my kids who are going really, really slow, and I'm having to go to their desk and help them a lot. And this ate up so much of our valuable time. When I was at that training about the curriculum, I talked to the instructor and said, oh, that problem set, the practice sheet that we do every day, it just eats up my math time. And he said, did you realize that the problem sheet is written in a way that it differentiates? The first several problems are usually very straightforward. They're a little bit easier. They don't require as much of your higher order thinking. And it will gradually get more complex till the last problems tend to be your trickier word problems that require more pictures, multiple steps, higher order thinking. And he said, some of your students just aren't ready for those problems at the end, but they're not going to get there because if you set a timer for 5 or 10 minutes, and that's all the time you give for the problem set, you are naturally going to have students in your classroom who complete the whole sheet and others who complete 3/4. Well, you have others who complete half. And that is differentiation. He said, it's okay if everyone doesn't complete the practice sheet. Everyone isn't ready yet. And I'm like, whoa, everyone's not ready yet. That makes so much sense. If my whole group was to introduce the skill, then of course there's students who aren't ready yet. They need to practice the skill using manipulatives and with teacher support before they can independently complete the problem set. And it was just an aha moment for me. So I think in our heads, we're like, we printed this worksheet, so every student must complete every problem. What if we change that thought and say every student will complete as many problems as they are ready to complete? Again, you could complete the rest of the problems during small group if you wanted to, because this is another tool from your curriculum. And we talked about using part of the tools during your whole group lesson and bringing the rest to your small group. So if you wanted to, you could work with your students on remaining problems during your small group. But what if everyone completes as many problems as they are ready to complete? And that the goal isn't to rapidly get through it, but to take our time to make sure the answers are accurate. Oh, this changed my whole thought process about these problem sets. Another way to make sure those small group or those whole group lessons stay short is to save the manipulatives for small group time. Now, I do not want you to leave this training thinking Jamie doesn't like math manipulatives. That couldn't be farther from the truth. I love math manipulatives. My 3-year-old plays with math manipulatives as a toy because I love them so much and I understand there's so much value in them. But here's what it looks like during whole group, right? During whole group time, you're like, okay, we got to use those manipulatives because I know they're super important, because they're so important for your visual learners. So you're passing them all out. And let's just say you're really organized. You got them all neatly in little baggies and you pass them all out. And then while they're working, you got some kiddos who are building a tower and other kiddos see it and they're like, oh, I can build a bigger one. Another kiddo has dropped them all over the floor. And when they went down to get them off the floor, they hit their head on the desk and they don't put the papers out of their desk. And by the time you actually get students working on the problem, you've wasted a ton of time. And on top of that, it's so hard to be at everyone's desk making sure that they're going in the right direction with these manipulatives, that they're building the problem in the correct way. And so I think that as much as I love manipulatives, they are so much more valuable during small group time, where it's easier to pass out, it's easier to watch them use them and to help them use them. And it's also easier to know how they're thinking with the manipulatives when they're ready to move to a different manipulative or when they're ready to move from manipulative to picture, because you're right there working with them. So I highly recommend that we get the whole group lesson done so we can get to that magical small group center time and there use math manipulatives nearly every day. Sound good? Okay, here's some more time-saving tips for you. Practice your lesson ahead of time. This one may sound kind of silly to you, but it helped me so much. So I share it all of the time. I am a talker, and that's how I was able to make my math lessons 60 minutes of me talking. But those of you who are also talkers, make sure that you go ahead and you practice that lesson. Now during the summer or on the weekend, or even while you're doing your hair in the morning before school, practice what you're going to say, okay? Go ahead and time it yourself so that you know, how close am I to that 20-minute mark? How close am I? If you're way off, then you have to start asking yourself if you are repeating yourself too many times. Because this is just the introduction. If you find that you're repeating yourself a lot, it's probably because your head still believes you need to say it over and over again until everyone understands. Another thing that saved me a ton of time is having materials ready to go ahead of your math lesson. Now, it sounds obvious, and sometimes we're good at this, but we tend to slack after a while. And I would find myself teaching a math lesson and my expo marker's dry. So I got to go get a new package out of the drawer, which takes time. And then I'm like, oh, I wanted to show you this website or this PowerPoint. Let me go put it up on my computer. I'm flipping through my teacher manual to find the page. I'm writing the sample down on my board. All these things took minutes away. And when you only have 20 minutes, even wasting 4 of them on getting a new expo marker is a huge amount of time away from our lesson. So think about it ahead of time. Have your writing utensils ready to go, your teacher manual to the page, Any samples you want to use, you might consider putting them in a PowerPoint so you don't have to write them on the board, and have that PowerPoint in any website you want to use pulled up, ready to go, so that no time is wasted going back and forth getting materials out. And then finally, set a timer. When you're doing your whole group lesson, go ahead and set a timer for 20 minutes. When that timer goes off, move on to small groups and centers, even if you're not done. Move on. Because remember, it's your small group time that's the most important. So we don't want to eat into the small group time because we were too slow during whole group. When the timer goes off, you and your students know wherever you're at, you're going to stop and move into small group and centers. I tell you, your brain will get so much better at time management as you go. You'll start to be able to anticipate those 20 minutes much better, and the timer won't have to interrupt you nearly as much after you get used to it. All right. Okay. How about we take a break before we go on to secret number 2, and we do a giveaway. Let's give away some TPT gift cards, okay? I'm sure you have lots of things on your wish list as you get ready for school. Maybe it's math centers or math curriculum, but whatever it is, I want to give away some gift cards, and all you have to do is get in the comments and tell me what's your favorite math skill to teach. Any math skill that you enjoy teaching, tell me in the comments. I'm going to pick some random winners and give away some TPT gift cards just for some fun. All right, let's see. All right. Denise, you are our first winner. She says she likes to teach order of operations, but now that she teaches second grade, she doesn't get to teach it. Order of operations. That's a tough one, Denise. I hope that you find lots of fun skills you like to teach in second grade. Denise, go ahead and send me an email, jamie@notsowimpyteacher.com, and we will make sure that you get a $5 TPT gift card to put towards your wish list. Congrats, Denise. All right, let's find. That's an interesting one. Kathleen says she likes to teach the box model for multiplication. So fun, Kathleen. I love that our students have the opportunity to learn so many different strategies so that they can find the one that works best for them. Kathleen, we would love to give you a $5 TPT gift card. So just go ahead and email me, jamie@notsowimpyteacher.com, and we'll get you a $5 TPT gift card just as quick as possible so you can spend it on something on your wish list. Let's find some more winners. All right. Ooh. Stevie, you're a winner. He says he likes to use tape diagrams to find fractional parts of the whole. Yes, tape diagrams are amazing. I didn't know anything about them, and used a curriculum that included tape diagrams, and I felt like, if my teachers had used tape diagrams, I would have thought of myself more of a mathematician. So thank you for teaching your students to use those tape diagrams. Stevie, we'd love to send you a TPT gift card. Go ahead and send me an email, jamie@notsowimpyteacher.com, and we will get that gift card off to you just as quick as possible. All right, I'm looking for someone who likes to teach my very favorite thing. I'm going to give away one more gift card here. Let's see, these are moving so fast. Here we go. Candace likes to teach fractions. Candace, I love teaching fractions. They're so much fun to teach. And Candace, I did not understand fractions at all when I was a student. So I think that's why I have so much fun teaching them. You can use so many cool manipulatives and strategies. I love it. So Candace, send me an email, jamie@notsowimpyteacher.com, and we'll send you a TPT gift card to put towards your wish list on TPT. So congrats to my winners. I hope that was fun. We needed a little break, but here we go. All right, moving on to secret number 2. We already talked about secret number 1 about making our whole group into a mini lesson. Now, secret number 2 is so important. This is my very favorite strategy to share with teachers about how we're going to take that chaos out of our math workshop. And that is only do 2 center small group rotations per day. Okay, I told you that when I first started, I had 10 different center rotations. 10. never, ever do 10 center rotations. It was just nuts. But as I watched other teachers who did centers in reading, I found that 4 groups seemed to be really standard. And so I split my class into 4 groups instead of 10. Good move. But I tried to do 4 different rotations every single day. And I found that it felt like a race. It felt like a circus. It just felt like chaos because 4 groups, it was like they would come and sit down and I'd be like, quick, grab your manipulatives, do this problem. Okay, next center, get your materials out, next center. And it was overwhelming. At the end, I felt like I needed to lay my head down and take a nap because it was so hard. So I got smarter and I said, if 4 rotations is wearing me out and I'm not getting very much time to work with my students, these small groups are supposed to be magical differentiation times, but I hardly even get to see them. I thought, what if I divide my class into 4 groups still, but I only meet with 2 of them each day? And ba-boom, that was when my math workshop changed dramatically. I had so much more time to work with my students, so I saw bigger growth, and we all had more fun with our center rotations because we didn't feel so rushed. Since you're doing fewer rotations, each rotation is longer. I suggest 2 20-minute rotations. If you have a 60-minute block, then 2 20-minute rotations. So you spend a third of your workshop whole group, a third of your workshop on rotation number 1, and a third of your workshop on rotation number 2. So those of you who have longer, you can kind of figure out how many minutes that would be. If you have 90 minutes, that means you can have a 30-minute whole group and 2 30-minute rotations, which is magical. You will love it, I promise. But if you have 60 minutes, that means you have 2 20-minute rotations. The longer rotation gives you more time to actually dig into math concepts. That means you can do several different problems. It means you can do problems from yesterday's lesson if you need to. You can do problems from today's lesson. You can get out those manipulatives. Fewer rotations saves time spent transitioning. We're wasting time with the transitions. Even if you work really hard with your class on fast transitions, it's still time wasted. The more you have to have, the more time that you are spending rotating rather than learning, practicing, and growing. So if we can decrease the rotations, then we have more time spent doing math. Fewer rotations actually gives you more time every week with each group. So I always have a few teachers who say, oh, but my lower students, they would need to meet with me every day. First of all, I do want to challenge you that we need to give even our struggling learners time to work independently. But I also want to remind you that when you do the fewer rotations, you will actually spend more minutes per week with your struggling learners than doing the more rotations and shorter a period of time. So you might meet with them fewer days, but you're going to have more minutes. And those minutes are what counts. It's not how many days you meet with them. It's how many minutes do you have to dig into the problems that they need help with? How many minutes do you have to work with those manipulatives to review a strategy that they don't yet understand? Let me just show you. This is what it was like when I had 4 rotations with a 60-minute block. There was 20 minutes for a whole group, and then I had 4 rotations, so that left me 10 minutes for each rotation, but we didn't really have 10 minutes because we had to transition between each of the different centers. So that really meant we had about 7 minutes for each rotation. When I went to 2 rotations, I still had my 20-minute whole group, and then that left me 2 20-minute rotations, but I still have to do transitions, which means I have about 17 minutes with a group. 17 minutes versus 7. Can you imagine how many more math problems we can do in 17 minutes than we can do in 7 minutes? This is when we can dig in deep. This is when we can figure out the misconception that's keeping them from mastering this skill. So let me add it all up for you. If you do small group 4 days per week, I'm going to use 4 days because that's what I had. I had 4 days to do my centers. If you have 5, that's great, but I'm just using the math of if you did it for 4 days, that means you have 7 minutes each day for 4 days. Then you would meet with your groups for 28 minutes per week. Each group would get you for 28 minutes per week. But if you do 2 rotations, 17 minutes each 2 days per week, then you get to meet with those groups for 34 minutes per week. So you're getting more minutes. That's 6 minutes. You could go over an entire math problem with manipulatives in 6 minutes. That is more time to practice with your students. And it's less chaos because your students aren't getting around and switching nearly as often. And it's not that fast, like speed, speed, speed. You got to do the problem faster because now we have more time so we can breathe. This makes a huge difference. Then I always get this question, but if I'm only meeting with them twice a week, does that mean I can only teach a new lesson every other day? No, I could never do that. My pacing guide, I had to teach a new lesson just about every day if I was going to get through it. I could take very few days and not teach a lesson. And I'm guessing that's how your pacing guide is too. So you would never get through the standards if you taught new lessons every other day. You can teach a new lesson in whole group every day. You're introducing new lessons every day. They build upon each other. And when you meet with your students in small group, you can work on a few problems from yesterday and a few problems from today. You have more time, considerably more time, so you can go over problems from yesterday and today if they need it. Some of your groups are going to come to you and they don't need any help with yesterday's lesson, so you wouldn't want to waste that time. You would want to challenge them and push them forward. This gives you that flexibility. Here's some feedback from a 3rd grade teacher. She said she switched from 4 rotations to 2 rotations, and she said she was rushed and frantic trying to meet all of her student needs when she had the 4 rotations, but there was just barely enough time to review a skill, let alone differentiate. So she switched to the 2 rotations, and she said the entire atmosphere changed. She was more relaxed. She looked forward to center time, and so did her students. And so she started to feel successful. They started connecting, and it made her students feel seen. And it built that classroom community. That is so absolutely positively incredible. And that's what I really want for you too. Okay, the last secret I have time to share with you this morning. I know I've been moving fast. I hope you've been able to take notes. But secret number 3, use centers to review content that has already been taught to mastery. This changed everything for me. So many teachers tell me, well, I want to do centers, but here's what happens. My students just aren't independent, and I'm trying to do a whole group and they keep coming up to me and asking so many questions. And I'm like, of course they aren't independent. You know what we were doing? I would teach a lesson. Let's just say I'm teaching how to use equal groups in multiplication, and I introduce it whole group. And then I'm like, okay, let's go to centers, go do your equal groups multiplication centers. I did just introduce it to you today. So now you can go practice it in centers. I was introducing something and then asking them to complete it successfully and independently. Of course, that was going to be a problem. Okay. And tell me I'm not alone. Have you ever done that? Have you teach a skill and then you're like, okay, go do the centers on that skill. It sounded fine to me at the time. I taught it to you. Now you get to practice it right after I taught it. But here's the thing. I only introduced it to them. Now I'm wanting them to be independent with it. Yeah. How are they going to do that? So it's like Carly said, what are they going to do if they struggle with that day's lesson? Then they're going to also struggle in centers too, right? Instead of doing this, instead of introducing a whole group on a topic and then sending your students to complete a center activity on that same topic, I want you to help your students to feel more confident and you not need to spend nearly as much time explaining, and then the students not need the support and not interrupt you in small group. And how to do that is to have them complete center activities that are reviewing skills that have already been taught in your whole group, practiced in small group, and assessed. So here's what that looks like. I think I have an example here for you. So I'm teaching division whole group, right? That's the unit we're on. I'm teaching division. But my students would not be doing division centers because I'm just introducing division whole group. And then I'm bringing back to small group and we're practicing. They're not ready to be sent off to independently do a bunch of division. Instead, they're doing multiplication centers while I'm teaching division because we just finished our multiplication unit. So they've already had multiplication introduced to them. They've already had practice during small group, and They've been assessed. So they are ready to be independent. And this is amazing review. And let's just be honest, our students should be reviewing these skills all year, because if they're reviewing multiplication right now, that's going to make them stronger at division, because the math just keeps building on each other. It's going to make them better at fractions when we get down to fractions. And so I need them to be reviewing, but now they're going to be so independent. And someone asked, well, what do you do at the beginning of the year? The beginning of the year, when I'm teaching my first unit, maybe it's place value, they are doing what I call back to school centers, which review skills and standards from the year before. So if I'm teaching third grade place value, they're doing second grade review in their centers, okay? Using centers for review increases their confidence and independence, and it's going to save you so much time. When our students are confident and independent, that's when they start seeing themselves as mathematicians, which, remember, that's what I didn't see myself as and what I so want my students to see themselves as. So we want to give them that confidence, but it's still valuable time. I do not want to use centers just as babysitters. I'm not going to give them easy activities so that they don't bother me. I'm going to give them meaningful activities. This is some feedback from Lisa. She said that when she started using the workshop model, her students' growth skyrocketed. And a big part of that is that she shifted her center rotations to review previously taught skills rather than the current lesson. And besides previously taught skills, it also focused on fact fluency. So her interruptions in small group disappeared. She was able to focus more on her small groups, plus the extra practice helped her students to master the standards. Exactly. I wish I'd thought of this early in my journey, but I hope that I can help you to make your math centers easier by reminding you how important it is to not send our students off to do something independently before they are ready. They're going to have a ton of questions and interruptions if they do. Okay, here are the 3 secrets I shared with you. I want to know which one of these, just type 1, 2, or 3 in the comments, you think is going to be the biggest shift for you this year in your math workshop. Number 1, we talked about how to turn our whole group lesson into a mini lesson that's no more than 20 minutes and really making it the introduction of the skill, not the time we think our whole class will master the standards. And number 2, we talked about doing 2 center rotations so we can decrease chaos and transition time, increase differentiation by spending more time with each of our students in small group. And then number 3, centers should review skills that have already been assessed instead of being on the lesson we just taught. Which one do you think is going to make the biggest difference? I see a lot of 1s. I love that, because before you're going to have success with 2 and 3, you got to get 1 under control or you're not going to have time for those small groups. So I love it. Bridget says 3. It makes total sense. I don't know why I didn't think of this before. Bridget, I feel the same way. 2, oh, that moved on me. I was reading it. Dawn says 2. Melissa said 1. Don't be sage on the stage for an hour, but do a mini lesson instead. I love it. Elaine says, all. This is a total change for me. I get it. Focus on number 1 first, and it will make all the others so much easier. Yeah, Beth said, where the magic happens. More time for small group. Yes, number 2 is going to give you more time for small group, and that is where the magic happens. Carrie, I totally get this. She says, 1, I talk too much. Carrie, I totally get it. All right. Would you like me to continue to help you implement a really successful math workshop this year that's going to have your students loving their math time and seeing themselves as mathematicians? If so, I would love to invite you to our brand new online program called Not So Wimpy Math Masterclass. This is an online professional development course that is completely self-paced, which means you can binge it today or watch a little at a time. And you get lifetime access so you can watch it over and over again as you grow as a teacher. So these are my promises to anyone joining us in the masterclass. By the end, you will have nailed down a math schedule that includes more time for differentiated groups, because we know that's where the magic happens. You will have learned how to deliver an effective mini lesson in just 20 minutes. We're going to go through each part of the whole group lesson. Like, how are you going to spend each of those 20 minutes to be the most effective? You will have tools needed to choose the centers that your students can complete independently. I'm going to help you pick center activities that will be really effective. You will have discovered simple strategies for small group lessons that are no prep for you. Yeah, small group lessons don't mean creating more materials. I'm going to show you how to create small group lessons, no prep. You will have practical ways to save time grading because, yeah, I don't want you taking home a bunch of papers every night. You will have step-by-step plans for implementing the math workshop from day one. Like, you'll know how to get math workshop started. And what's most important to me, you are going to be so excited about math next year. There are actually 7 modules in the math masterclass. Remember, it is self-paced, so you can work through them a little at a time, or some teachers prefer to just binge watch it, whichever you prefer. I will tell you more about these modules in a little bit, but I wanted to give you a little peek. Module 1's the math workshop. We'll go a lot more into the not so math process where you're doing 2 rotations per day and how that's going to work so that all of your students get the most of you. In module 2, we're going to go through whole group lessons. What do you do for those 20 minutes? How do you get through it in 20 minutes? Module 3 will be about how to create your small groups. How many students should be in each group? How many groups should you have? And how will you display them? Module 4 will be about those small group lessons. Like I said, you don't have to prep all new materials for your small groups every day. I used to. It took so much time, and it was a part of math workshop I really disliked. I'm going to show you how to do it. No prep. Module 5 is all about centers. It's a fan favorite. There's tons of freebies in there. We're going to talk about what centers will help your students the most, how to make sure they're really independent with their centers, give you lots of ideas. Module 6 will be about grading, some tips on what to grade, what not to grade, how to get the grades you need. Module 7 is starting your math workshop. What are you going to do those first couple of weeks of school to get it started so that your students know the routines and procedures right from the beginning? So 7 modules with 36 training videos. They're super short because I took my own lesson and I made them mini lessons. I told you exactly what you needed to know, and I didn't repeat it over and over again. There's a fantastic workbook for note-taking. It has extra tips, and you're going to love it. And there's also free gifts in every single module. I love them. And you get a 10-hour PD certificate as soon as you complete the math masterclass. Plus, I added 3 bonuses because I'm a gift giver. Bonus 1 is probably one of my favorites. It's the ultimate guide to organizing math centers and manipulatives. We get so many questions about how to organize your math centers, what containers, what labels, how do you do it? And so we made an entire step-by-step guide. We'll talk about how to prep your centers, cutting, laminating, all of that. We'll talk about how to organize the centers that your students are currently using and how to organize the centers that are not in use yet, the ones that you're storing. Plus, there's information about your math manipulatives, all your tiles and counters and fraction circles. How are we going to keep those organized? We'll talk more about that in this guide. Bonus number 2, we are giving you back to school centers for your grade level. We've included grades 2, 3, 4, and 5. That's who the masterclass is for. So you will have 10 centers your first month ready to go. So when you're teaching your first unit, they can do the back to school centers because they're a review of the previously taught skills, and they're going to be able to be more independent for you right from the beginning. And then bonus number 3 is that you get ongoing support during the year in our members only Facebook group. So this is awesome. When you go to a conference, you don't often get to ask the instructor questions throughout the year. So when you start implementing the math workshop in your classroom, that's when you're going to have questions. What should I do about this? Hey, I have a student who's struggling with this. Do you have any ideas? Or come and celebrate. Say, hey, this worked really well this week. I'm super excited. It's a great place for you to get that support and celebration. Okay, here's what it costs. The Math Masterclass is $97. That includes absolutely everything, but I'm giving you an extra 10% off today only, just as a thank you for coming to the training today. So if you use the promo code MATH, that should be easy to remember, at checkout, then you will get 10% off of the $97 price. So make sure to join by 11:59 Eastern time. So that's like 9 o'clock for you in the Pacific time. So remember that. It's 11:59 p.m. Eastern time tonight, and you can use that 10% off code. here is your website to get signed up. We can't wait to welcome you. It's notsowimpyteacher.com/awesome, because I want to make your math workshop awesome this year. So notsowimpyteacher.com/awesome to get signed up, and do it before 11:59 Eastern time. Use the promo code MATH, and you'll get an extra 10% off of our regular $97 price. Okay, I told you I'd give you a little more details about the modules for those of you who are interested. The first module is so important. It's taking the chaos out of Math Workshop. We're going to go deeper into what we talked about today. We're going to talk so much more about your schedule for Math Workshop, your schedule for your centers and rotations, and the free gift with this module, because there's free gifts in every module, is you get the all-in-one Not So Wimpy Math Workshop Handbook. It covers the entire course, bonus tips, ideas, note-taking, plus it has the schedules for your rotations. Module number 2, turning your whole group lesson into an effective mini lesson. This is when we are going to talk about what to do during those 20 minutes of whole group. I'm going to help you to make it into a mini lesson and make sure that you cover all the most important parts of your math lesson, including math facts, review, the new skill, and that problem set. The free gift in this module is you get an editable Math Workshop lesson plan template. It has space for you to plan your whole group and your small group lessons, and it's editable. Module 3 is creating the small groups at work. When I first started doing Math Workshop, I struggled with creating the small groups. I overthought it. I didn't know how many students there should be, and I obviously had too many groups. I didn't know how to decide who would be in what group. I didn't know how to display it. And so I want to share with you what I've learned. And your free gift with this module is a small group organization kit. It's going to have editable group posters that show who's in which group and which center they should be working on each day. Super helpful. Module 4, the easiest way to deliver differentiated small group lessons. I'm telling you, this is going to be a game changer for you, because when I first started doing small groups, I was always searching TPT and Pinterest for small group activities because I thought I needed to prep all new things for each small group, which meant I had 4 small groups that I was constantly feeling like I had to prep for. But no, I'm going to teach you how to make that so much easier, less prep and planning, because you don't have that extra time. And your free gift with this module is that you're going to get labels, beautiful labels, for all of your math manipulatives that we can keep everything organized. Plus, I've included an interactive notebook starter kit that includes the cover, the table of contents, dividers, and everything in case you decide to use interactive notebooks during your small groups. Module 5 is always a teacher favorite, centers that increase student independence and confidence. We're going to talk about the different rotations that your students will go to during centers. There's 3 different rotations. I'm going to give you lots of suggestions for how to use those rotations, what materials that you can use, and how to make sure your students are going to be able to be independent and confident. Your free gift. This one actually has lots of free gifts. Your free gift with this module, you get a set of 3 math centers for 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th grades. These are just like some samples, math centers that you can use inside of your workshop. You're also going to get math center labels. You're going to get math fact games, and you'll get a list of our favorite math apps in case you have devices that you can use during math centers. You're going to love this module. It's really full of good stuff. Module 6 is getting the grades without carting a heavy bag home. That's what I want for you. We'll talk about what to grade, what not to grade, and kind of how to decide what to grade and what not to grade. And as a free gift, I love this gift. You're going to get the Not So Wimpy Teacher Back to School Growth Mindset activities. There's 5 different lessons with activities for your students, and it's just going to teach them how their brains grow. It helps them to understand their grades and, that struggle of feeling like they're not doing good. This is so important and a really great way to start off your years, to work on that growth mindset so that they understand that it's so much more about the growth than it is about the grades. Okay, module 7, starting your math workshop today. It's all fine and dandy to learn about a great math workshop, but how do you teach all the procedures? How do you get it started? It's really important that we start strong by teaching routines and procedures. And in this module, I'm going to tell you exactly what to do for the first 10 days of your math workshop. Your free gift is that you get lesson plans for those first 2 weeks. You'll also have anchor charts to help you teach the routines and procedures and to build student stamina for math workshop. So again, you get those 7 modules, which is 36 videos. You get the workbook, the PD certificate for 10 hours, the 3 bonuses, that organizational guide, your back to school centers, and you get the ongoing support in our members only group. And I believe so much in this math masterclass. It's already helped so many students, thousands actually, and it's brand new. So I am confident to give you a total guarantee that if you're not satisfied with the course, contact me within 14 days of enrolling, and I'll give you a full refund, no questions asked. So tell me, would it feel amazing to fit an engaging, chaos-free math workshop into your 60-minute math block and then see your students grow in both their math skills and their confidence? Would that just feel amazing? Now, don't forget about that 10% off. I really wanted to give you a little bonus today and give you that 10% off, but it's today only. So make sure that if you're joining us, join by 11:59 Eastern time, use the code MATH at checkout, and we will give you an extra 10% off. All right, here's the website again. It's notsowimpyteacher.com/awesome. All right, this is from a 2nd grade teacher, and she said she just loved the workshop model. Spending more time with her small groups and whole group helped her to focus on students' needs, and it cut her prep time. I love it. Okay, I want to real quick show you what you'll see when you head to that website, notsowimpyteacher.com/awesome. Go ahead and click on that pink Enroll Now button that's right above my head. It'll take you into a screen where you quickly can fill in your details. Make sure you use that coupon code MATH to get that 10% off. And as soon as you sign up, you will get this confirmation page with 2 buttons. One will take you directly to the course, because as soon as you sign up, you have access to everything, all the bonuses, all the freebies, all the videos. The other will take you to the Facebook group. Go ahead and click on that Facebook group, answer a couple questions so we can make sure that we keep it members only, and we'll get you in there as quick as possible. When you click go to course, you'll see something that looks like this. It says your library, and you'll see the math masterclass right there, the first thing listed. Click on where it says click here, and it will take you right inside your members only area. I have created a start here video for you. It's a little more about myself and about how to get the most out of the course. Right underneath that video, you'll see all of your modules. All 7 modules are there with all the freebies inside of the module. So you can binge watch today if you prefer. And the website, notsowimpyteacher.com/awesome. Okay, those of you playing bingo, the secret word number 5 is teach. Teach. So if you signed up for the Not So Wimpy Teacher experience at notsowimpyteacher.com/experience, we send you a bingo game board for you to play along with us for a chance to win additional prizes. And if you can't find your game board, you can always go to notsowimpyteacher.com/bingo to get another one. If you have a bingo, 5 in a row, after the live has ended, I'm going to do a few questions here, but after the live has ended, go ahead and put a picture in the comments, and my team selects winners. So they'll tag you. If you get tagged, it's good news. It means you won a TBT gift card. So as soon as this live is over, I want to answer just a few questions that you guys have put in the comments that I haven't gotten to answer yet. But then you can go ahead and put your bingo board in the comments. And just real quick, these are our next trainings. If you are signed up, notsowimpyteacher.com/experience, we send you the calendar and the reminders and replay links. So make sure you're signed up. We're down to just 4 more days. Okay. It's time for some Q&A. All right. I don't have much time, but I do want to answer a few questions that have been asked. Myrna, are they different groups each day? Myrna, you're going to assign your students to groups, And those groups are fluid in that you'll want to change them when you need to, but I wouldn't change them every day because that's a lot. That would be hard for students to get what they need and keep up with it. But you will change them when you need to. A lot of times we need to change them when we start a new unit because students might be in one group for your division unit, but in a totally different group for your fractions unit. So the groups are fluid, but they wouldn't change every day. So you would have your Monday, Wednesday groups, your Tuesday, Thursday groups. Kathy, what about assigned homework? Kathy, this is definitely a sensitive subject, but I'm happy to talk about it. Homework. Now, I think that I'm not a huge fan of homework just in general, okay? I feel like every student has very different home life and resources available to them. And when we assign homework, it can be very unfair, right? Some students have parents who can sit and help them and quiz them, and they have manipulatives and pencils and extra scratch paper and all the things. And well, other students will do it completely on their own at a babysitter's house. So that's important. I also believe that students go to school for 7 hours a day, and that's a lot. That's plenty. I think we learn from an early age, like go to school all day, then we have to do more work. Well, then when we're adults, we work all day and we come home and we do more work, but that's what we were taught from a young age. So I'm not a huge homework fan. That being said, I understand that many schools require you to send home math homework. So my suggestion, if you're required to send math homework home, is to send home homework that they already can complete confidently, independently. Just like you were doing with center rotations, instead of introducing a lesson today and then sending that home for homework and expecting them to be able to do it independently, I would recommend sending home homework from a previous unit so that they can be more successful on their own. If they don't have the support at home, they're going to be able to be more successful without needing a bunch of parent support, which parents will thank you for that. So that would be my suggestion if you have to send it home. If you don't have to, I wouldn't. That's me. Stephanie says, do you grade homework? I don't think you can grade homework because you have no idea how it was completed. Did the student complete it? Did the parent complete it? Was it a combo, or did they actually do it independently? Since you really don't know, it doesn't feel fair to take a grade. You could do completion points, but beyond that, it doesn't feel fair to me. Marie, how long do you keep the same centers? It depends. You want to keep them as long as possible because teaching new centers takes way too much class time. You waste class time teaching them how to do the work again and teaching them how to be successful. So I choose center rotations that can be left all year, but maybe the skills are switched up. And that saves so much time and helps students boost that confidence and their ability to complete centers independently. So when you go through the math masterclass in module 5, that's one of the big focuses is centers that don't have to be switched out. I used to switch mine out every week, and it took a ton of my time searching for them, a ton of my time prepping them, and then class time teaching them how to be successful with them. Realized that was not good use of my time. So looking for activities that can stay the same even if the skill switches out throughout the year. So I hope that helps. Marie. Oh, this is sweet. My team said a few of you asked how I'm feeling. It's kind of been up and down. Those of you who don't know, I am pregnant. I'm about 18 and a half weeks, and I'm still having morning sickness. It's really night sickness for me. So that's fun. And then last week I got a cold. So a cold on top of nausea and vomiting. It was just a really fun week, but I'm so excited that my team was here still delivering phenomenal trainings for you. I am feeling a little bit better today than I was last week. So hopefully that sickness will go away soon. Thank you for asking. Laura says, how long does it take to binge watch all the videos? Laura, if you were just going to sit and binge watch them, it would take about 4.5 hours. Begin with Math Masterclass. You have lifetime access and it's self-paced. So you can binge watch them, or if you prefer, you could watch a module a day or a video a day. It's totally up to you. No rush. I just want you to have the information when you head back to school, and that's just different for everybody. Bailey said, would we get all these freebies instantly or as we complete each module? Bailey, they're inside the modules, but you have access to everything as soon as you sign up. So you can go through the modules and just grab the freebies if you prefer. They probably make more sense as you watch the videos and then download the freebies, but it's up to you. You have access to everything the moment you sign up. Carrie, I'm teaching 4 grade levels. Oh, Carrie, I cannot imagine. So I have to do rotations to survive. Do you think this class will help me since it's designed for teaching a single grade? Now, I do think if you're teaching multiple grade levels, you have to do rotations. I think that's so important. Now, 4 grade levels seems like an awful lot to me. But what you'll probably want to do, you'll just have to make some modifications. The course will help you to pick good centers, to focus on what to do during your small groups, to help you with grading and getting routines and procedures set up. But the modification I would suggest you make is I would get rid of whole group for you, because you're teaching 4 grade levels. The whole group isn't going to be very beneficial. You will probably have 4 groups, and they're probably by their grade level. So you still have the same 4 groups like we all are talking about, but yours will probably be decided by grade level. And then all the rest would still work. It's just whatever you would normally do during whole group, you'd also have to do during small group. So your small group time would be longer because you're not teaching whole groups. I would spend your whole math block in small group. I hope that helps. And wow, 4 grade levels. Yikes. Lottie says, are Math Masterclass freebies also available in TPT Math bundle purchase? Lottie, I think you're talking about the math centers. I do have a math centers bundle on TBT. It's a great for one of your center rotations. And that does not include all the freebies. It has some center labels, but none of the other freebies. A lot of these freebies we created just for the masterclass to make sure that it was everything you would need to get started. So if you have the independent centers, great, they're fantastic. And the Math Masterclass will help you to know how to use them in your overall math workshop if you're choosing to use those. So I hope that really helps. Carrie, I see you. Yeah, yikes indeed. But I know you'll be amazing with all 4 grade levels, and they'll be really lucky to have you. But I think a workshop is going to be how you are going to make that happen. All right, I have gone 11 minutes over, and I hate to take any more time than you've already given me. Thank you so much for being a part of the Not So Wimpy Teacher experience. And remember to head over to notsowimpyteacher.com/awesome to join the Math Masterclass. Remember, if you join today and use the code MATH, we'll give you an extra 10% off. And go ahead and upload the photos of your bingo boards if you have a bingo. Have a not so wimpy day.